What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down with Fresh Out. You know how we do it over here. And man, I got a special guest for you today. Not one, but two. I got my man Cody and Aaron, Stranger by the Hour podcast. These guys are on another level, and we have some crazy conversations. And with all the crazy shit going on right now, it was only right that we bring them on the channel because these guys can break down some shit. So,
Oh, yeah.
man, I mean, let's just get right into it, man.
Let's do it.
Looking at what we've seen over the past couple of days, and we talk about how they can stage certain things, and we know there's false flags and all this stuff. But I mean, dude, this shit right here, I've never seen that. This is like real time, Kennedy type assassination shit, man. But the cover up is raggedy. You know what I mean? Like the actors are bad, bro. I mean,
real bad. Yeah.
Dude, today I heard there were 3 snipers in the building that the guy climbed on top. They seen this guy 3 times. One guy took a picture of him.
Yeah.
Then he climbed up there and they're hearing the guy on the roof. And then the head of the Secret Service said the roof was too sloped.
Yeah, because that's why when asked, why didn't you have one of your people occupy? So of course, like you don't have to be some sort of special operations tactician expert to understand basically that these guys have a responsibility to control that whole environment, right? And you do that by occupying the high ground. Like anybody that's ever like played guns with their friends or played paintball or something like understands, right? So all these obvious failures, and then like you said, now the stuff's starting to trickle out. One thing that seems to be a trend with all these events, like, and some of the standout ones that are similar are like the Vegas shooting, and where it happens live. There's all this, live eyewitnesses and all this. But in the first 2 or 3 days, it's chaos. It's a bunch of stray voltage narrative stories. They always name somebody first, and then that turns out not to be their name. Not always, but very often they'll throw out a name and a picture that's not real. And it's to get everybody kind of spinning their wheels, create a bunch of chaos to give them time to trickle out what ends up going to be the real narrative, like the official story.
And the term for that in the psychological operations community is ambiguity increasing. They blast out white noise to increase the ambiguity over the entire situation until they have their story that they're going to run with, basically like in lockstep, for lack of a better term. And I guess just to real quick refresh the audience, I'm not going to pat myself on the back for any sort of appeal to authority, but I will appeal to Aaron's authority during this, because not only is he a United States Marine Corps sniper, he's a United States Marine Corps sniper instructor. Like he taught the snipers to snipe. So,
but even that, like, okay, so, and that's one thing about this. That's why kind of like I said, it doesn't even take an expert, because really, the only thing like an expert would have to weigh in on is like, hey, what's the actual difficulty of these shots at that range? But even that, like, we're only talking about, he was like 130 yards away. So for both the amateur, sniper, shooter, assassin guy, and the Secret Service. So the thing with these Secret Service snipers, they're not like, the local sheriff department, sent a guy to Dick's and bought a hunting gun and now he's the sniper. Like, these are like legitimate. A lot of these guys are prior military. They train with the Marine Corps, Scout Sniper Instructor course at Quantico. They train with the FBI. These guys are, they're highly trained professionals, right? So, and this ranges, honestly, with a zeroed optic on a gun, literally any person that has the ability to look through a sight and like line up crosshairs. We're not talking about the skill in place here is like their tactics, right? And so this, the other thing is, you're trying to tell me these guys had no drone overhead. They had no things that you would just assume, like, I give you $800, you can go down to Best Buy and get everything you would need to surveil that place from the sky, no problem, So have you heard? This is just an acronym I've heard. Starting with this, it's called LIHOP. Let it happen on purpose. So like it's a theory that, hey, this is engineered incompetence. Like, so, it's kind of like, hey, the order was given not to shoot, like the Uvalde thing, kind of like, no, I don't give you the authority to go in there and stop this shooting or whatever. So it's this letting things happen on purpose. So and that's fuzzy too, because it'll look like a bunch of incompetence. a bunch of people can point fingers and say that's criminally incompetent. This is insane. Like, this is absurd, right? Yeah, it's insane. It's absurd, but that doesn't give you a definitive thing to lay blame on. You know, it'll stay ambiguous, and I don't think we'll ever. This will be like everything else, like Vegas, completely insane set of circumstances in Vegas. We still have no resolution on that.
Yeah, you know, when I look at stuff like this, right, and you know, like I said, I had just mentioned I got this book. I haven't started reading it, but I'm about to get into it. And I've read a lot of stuff in prison, and I've seen guys who are basically like almost on autopilot, and I call it like it's in a sense it's you know, we talked about before like Jason Bourne type cast, but not at that military level, but a lower level where you can have people who will do things and don't really know why they're doing, almost like a Manchurian candidate. And
Yes.
so I'm looking at this guy, right? I see him, and this is the thing about why they want to control TikTok, social media, because you know there's so many avenues now they can't stop it. It's like, oh, this is leaking. Oh shit, this. Then you're
Yeah.
putting fingers everywhere, and there's so much information coming in, and then you start looking at like, man, none of the mainstream media is covering any of this shit. It's
Right.
like
It's all happening on
very
like Twitter.
yeah, exactly. So you start listening, and I'm not saying that you buy everything, but I look at okay, I see this guy in the BlackRock video. Out of
Yeah.
everybody in the world, this guy
Yeah.
coincidentally,
Just happens to be.
I mean, dude, come on, bro. I've been
Right. So
extras.
it gets to the point where you have to work harder to discount the many coincidences and anomalies than you have to accept it. It's like a conspiracy in reverse. It's like when you lay out all the things that are interesting, insane, or coincidental about it, you go, no, like in order for me to accept all of that, that's way crazier than what I'm saying, which is somebody set this whole thing up, you know, or whatever. Like,
And
And it goes back to like reality is stranger than fiction, because where I was going with that is on the whole MK and all the Manchurian thing is that I would like to see this guy's medical profile. What type of
yeah,
medication would this guy taking? Because I'll tell
yeah.
you right now, I know some dudes that I did time with, and they've been on so much medication. If you guys sat in a room with one of these guys for about an hour, you could convince him to go out and try to shoot up a courthouse.
right.
It's not that hard to manipulate people
Right.
who aren't mentally there. That's compromised. You know what I mean?
And
So
I think that the government, I think these projects like MK Ultra and stuff, like it's funny because we, you know, the CIA is real nice. Like they'll on their own websites, they'll post these declassified ops like Operation Northwoods, MK Ultra. You can read, you can look at all the scanned in PDFs, you can read all the hearings and everything. So they'll put it out there for you because they want you to believe that that was a thing that happened, and then now that program shut down and it's done.
Right.
But it's like, okay, if you're working on, if you're the Central Intelligence Agency, which is obviously, you know, a tool of these global, it's not like an American institution. This is a tool of these like globalists, right? But so now you've got the CIA and you're working on a program to do mind control, to get human beings to do what you want them to do, right? You think you're going to ever stop doing that? If you have any success with that whatsoever, it would be irresponsible to stop. Because look, you summoned that demon, dude. You put that out into the, because once we know how to do it, everyone else figures out how to do it. It's just like the first time a guy ran a 4-minute mile or whatever. Right now all of a sudden everyone, you know, it's like a thing people can do. Same thing with these intelligence operations. It's like the trade craft for the KGB is like the same as the CIA. Like it's their right. So now that the thing exists, you can't stop. It's an arms race, you know.
yeah.
So they've probably just improved the method to the point. Yeah. The other thing is this kid, his parents were social workers or counselors of some variety, which probably means that because you can just look at the guy, his physiognomy or whatever, and you're like, yeah, that's one of those like autistic, spurged out, like awkward dudes, you know? I'm trying to be as nice as possible about it.
No, you're right. And imagine if you had that guy, like, dude, I've literally, and it's like, it's crazy. Like when you're saying that, I've literally been around people and like, you could be talking like, hey man, you ever thought about robbing so-and-so? You know, he's got a lot of money over there. Really? Yeah, man. You know, this guy, you know, he sells a lot of drugs, blah, blah, blah. We can go over there. It's easy, brother. Is that right? Man, yeah. You know, so you tell this kid, hey, you're stopping the man who's going to destroy the world. This is going to be the next guy who's going to start the apocalypse. Yeah. You're doing a service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it doesn't take a whole lot, man.
Yeah. it's just even that, like, I agree, but even that being said, like we all agree, like something's rotten in the state of Denmark, right?
Yeah.
But just as far as an op goes, like, damn, this one's a tough nut to crack because, like, okay, even if you had like it's like I'm keen to know more about like how they actually do it, how they get these people to do stuff, because it's not like you could just kind of, all right, we'll stimulate the the information environment, we'll fire off some stuff with these guys and see who we can get to do what. No, this was a very specific thing. Like that dude crawled up on apparently, like that's the other thing.
Right.
Some of this, I don't see what you think about. You've seen the picture of the bullet going by Trump, right? You've seen that
Yeah,
photograph.
yeah.
Okay. So, and everyone, like, when I'm beefing with people on Twitter, kind of shooting holes in the narrative, they're like, look, dumbass, we've seen the picture of the bullet going by. I go, well, hold on. We've seen an image. Like, we've seen a photograph on our screens, on our computers, and our phones in our hand. We see this picture of a bullet going by, a streak in the sky next to Trump. There's interesting things about that because with photography, in order to catch a speeding bullet like that, you have to have the aperture settings on like 1 in 8,000 frames per second or so. It's not how you would have the camera set up to take like pictures of a dude on a podium 20 feet away, So that's weird. So a lot of people are saying, yeah, the photographer probably had the camera set up to get high quality frame by frame photos of Trump's head exploding.
And to
Well,
further on that, the photographer's name that took that photo of the blurred bullet is Doug Mills. And what Doug Mills also see, this is one of those things where
another coincidence.
Yeah, when coincidences start piling up, they're no longer coincidences. So
exactly.
Doug Mills also took the photograph of George Bush being told that the planes had hit the towers in 9/11.
Wow.
Same guy.
In that elementary school.
Yeah.
Where they were reading a book called My Pet Goat, which is a like parable of God and Lucifer. Like the pet goat he always misbehaves and everything, but like it's a parable about the devil,
dude. And so like just take that right there, right? Like just take the fact that it's the same photographer. Now the normie, the person who's like, a lot of people just can't confront, the possibility that there's something orchestrated at this level. So they deny and they reject. So they're going to go, oh, yeah, the guy's a photographer. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer. Of course, he's going to be at the Trump rally at bumfuck, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, bumfuck nowhere.
This wasn't the RNC. This wasn't an inauguration. This is like, that's where you send like the third string photographer guy, right? But anyways, the guy that photographed Bush on 9/11. So just think of what the ritual of 9/11 was. That was a paradigm changing. Things were never okay. After the morning of September 11th, things were never the same again for our country, for most of the rest of the world. Like that kicked off their whole global war on terror op, the repealing of our civil liberties, a whole bunch of financial shit. That was a big op. I think this Trump assassination is another big op. And what I don't know is, was it intended to kill Trump? And really, at this point, like, the guys, the ones that think Trump is here to save them on behalf of Jesus and stuff are like, that was divine intervention. Like literally God saved Trump, because he was talking, he looked at his chart, boom, gets grazed in the ear. That's God's hand, right? But I'm like, well, maybe or somebody wants you to believe that Trump is like, they're trying to elevate Trump, like give him God emperor status, make it seem like he has the mandate of the Christian God behind him. Like, and like, we're talking about it, we can talk about it rationally, but there's legions of boomers who believe that whole heart, who would cut you if you told them that wasn't the case. Like people are really getting behind this because this is what they've been waiting for. They've been the right wing, the Christian right, the regular, like, working poor people of the country, that whole people that like love Trump, they've been getting the shit kicked out of them for years now, right? Like they've been being maligned and in the press. Every Hollywood movie is about how stupid they all are, right? The people that actually have power in this country on a daily basis just tell them they're horrible, terrible, evil people. Of course, they've been waiting for their God to step in and make shit right. And then right on live television, that's what they saw. They saw the evil try to kill Trump and God stopped it.
Now, are you a spiritual person?
I'm a spiritual person. I'm not saying I believe all that. I'm saying that
yeah,
that's the power in this kind of op. Like if you were trying to elevate Trump's status.
Well, on the flip side of that, and I'm just, playing devil's advocate here, but like I heard somebody, especially in California, these people down there, bro, they're like, well, he's so diabolical. He would, he had fake blood. He squeezed it on his
Yeah,
finger.
right.
I mean, dude, okay, let me now. But if it was the other way around, it would be a repeat of January 6th, the Patriots, the
Oh my
MAGA.
God. Could you
It wouldn't even,
imagine?
we would, this conversation would be in a whole nother direction for these people because there's no way
Dude.
anybody on the right could ever be right. They meant to, it would be a
Yep.
totally different conversation.
We wouldn't even
So,
be allowed to. I guarantee you that if the same thing happened to Biden and all the left were like, that actually happened, and Shane, and how dare you say anything else, we wouldn't be able to talk on the open internet, like on YouTube and stuff,
no,
any alternative narratives.
dude, if you would
It
have
would be
said what Jack
misinformation.
Black said
Oh
in
yeah, yeah,
Australia,
yeah.
dude, you would have been you'd have been in Guantanamo right now.
Right.
No question.
Yeah.
Dude, they would have came and got that dude on stage. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, they killed an old man in Washington.
Yeah, they
to make
shot
him
that
dress
dude
again.
dead.
Remember, they went there and blew his head off.
Dude, they
So-
they sent the tactical team to his house. No, like, hey, where the cops are here, come get out of your chonies and come meet the. No, it was like, breach the door, kill the fucking guy.
And a flip, and also going back to what you just said, like rituals. Look, they've already what they did with the people from J6, still locked up. There's people that actually committed suicide because they didn't want to go to prison. They never talked about those people. Scared to death.
They don't talk about them because they really do. There's a section of those evil people that know exactly what January 6th was. They know it was like a big put on nonsense thing, right? But the rest of the left, they just honestly believe that those people tried to overthrow the government. They really believe that it was an attempted coup.
Even with the videos?
They don't care, dude. They've, and it's a lot of people on the right are this way too. They're unaffected by information that challenges their worldview. You know what I mean?
Wow, man!
Even with the video, and this is the same. It's interesting because like you give this another week, and there will, I think, by within the next 3 or 4 days, there will be the official story. The official story is forming right now. Right now, we're in the challenging narratives phase, and little by little, the challenging narratives will get stripped away. They'll get debunked. They'll get debunked by, and what they'll do is they'll have credible right-wing influencers, help with some of that debunking. And within a few days, right now it's the Wild West, right? Within 3 or 4 days, there'll be like a Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Jordan Peterson approved version of the story.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, right. Here's the authorized right wing, and I bet you it'll be a mixture of, well, it certainly seems like the government was purposely incompetent and tried to get Trump killed by not doing their job. But we're gonna have some hearings on Congress, and we're really gonna, when Trump gets in there, we're gonna hold these people accountable. No one's ever gonna be held account. I don't think.
I'd have thought that what could be happening, and we discussed this with one of your last guests, Nick, from the Heart to Kill podcast last night, which is I like using movie analogies because it's something that everybody can visualize in their head, right? Well, in Goodfellas, where De Niro's character, they've already knocked off the airport, everybody's been paid, and people are out there just acting a fool with the money, right? And it turns out that De Niro, these are people on his crew. These are people that did all the dirty work for him, and unbeknownst to them, De Niro's going to whack them all. So
yeah.
Almost what I'm thinking about is what's going to happen is you can't keep running the same scam on people for as long as these people have been scamming us without people eventually figuring out. People kind of understand the economy is a Ponzi scheme at this point, right? So I think the handlers of all these people, have not told the Democrats that their day is done.
Yeah, their time in the shoot's
all,
over.
all the Pelosi's, all these fucking people that were given the opportunity to make money, and then they went out and acted like complete degenerates about it, right? So they've already shown like what they're built out of. So nobody's going to bat an eye if they flip the script and put a green light on them for all, like the radical Christianity that Aaron just talked about.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you say the radical Christianity, they had a radical LGBTQ movement which went so extreme where they were going after the kids because the colleges as a grown adults you were kind of more conscious, but a kid has no sense. So it swung so far to the left with that agenda I always tell people when it gets weighted, it's going to swing back the other
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys aren't going to be ready. But also going into this, these people like to do public things to show you, like literally, I'll see, like, for example, in prison, the warden would take the toughest dude, put him in a hole, and try to break him. Now, if they would have publicly blew this dude's head off, all you little guys out there, you better get in line. We don't play.
Yeah.
We already told this guy we were going to take his Secret Service protection if he got convicted because of conduct unbecoming.
Yeah.
We try to take all this guy's wealth. We try to strip him of all his property. We try to take away his. We try to basically take away any protection he has now, and also take him off the ballot. And I'm just playing, like I said, you could vote whatever you want to vote, but I'm just saying, you look at all these things. What's the last thing left? Goddamn, if Cody and Aaron do not want to stop, go for the gusto. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, to me, it's like, you really, man? I mean, I've never, this is like in Mexico, this is what they do, bro. If you don't get off the ballot and you're not going to work with the cartels, you're out.
Well, and
then they get a female Jewish president.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I mean, these are people that have no problem starting whole entire wars where like 1 million people are going to die. Of course, they would. It's just, for me, like, okay, maybe it's real. Maybe the deep state tried to kill Trump. But even if that's the case, I feel like I don't know. It's like all too good for Trump. Like, it's so perfect. Like, it's really like, you know, the pictures,
let's brainstorm him getting killed and brainstorm the fact that he lived, right?
Yeah.
So if he was to get killed, I have very low opinion of the bravery of the average American. For example, in those videos, you see all these fucking rednecks, right? They probably all got fucking F-150s parked in the parking lot of that place. They all got Punisher stickers on them with the fucking white, black, and blue flag, you know, like they're all ready just to defend democracy themselves, right? Well, I mean, not a single one of them, not 50 of them, not 100 of them rushed that gunman and did whatever they could, like create a fucking human ladder, boost dudes up on the roof. Yeah, some of you are going to get shot, but you're going to get them. You know what I'm saying? He ain't going to shoot everybody. He's only got a fucking 30-round clip at the most. So, like, nobody in that audience did any of that shit, right? But if Trump would have got killed, with everything we're talking about, all everything you just pointed out with the persecution of the man, right? Like that's way on the nose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're at that point, your average American. I think this entire thing is about giving America an ultimatum. And so if Trump dies, what happens is something fucking has to happen. Like, they just saw your presidential candidate get smoked on fucking national TV. Now the ultimatum is, what are you going to do about it? Right? So, but then it leaves the wild ass American right leaderless, like ungovernable, unruled. So then you can't shape the effects of that. I mean, dudes could just start taking motherfuckers out. BlackRock executives could start dropping. Like, I mean, the American people could do like a 360 fucking attack and just be like, hey man, if you've been doing dirt, they just smoked our guy and we know you're doing dirt, you know.
I kind of don't think they would do shit. I don't know.
Well, I don't think they will either. I think they need Trump to tell them to do shit. So I think the reason why Trump survived is because he's going to get elected, right? He gets back in, and now he gives people the conditions are set for the ultimate or for the offer to be given. You got ultimatums and offers, right? You know, if they blow your guy's head off on national TV, that's an ultimatum. The mask has come off, and now you got to fucking do something about it, right? But the offer comes when Trump gets elected, and he's like, "Hey, check it out. There's like 30 million illegal immigrants here, you know." So he goes after the fucking immigration people and the deep state, right? And basically, the offer is going to be for the American people to put blood on their hands. Like, you want to right this country, you want to right this fucking ship, you know, you're going to follow DJT, and the offer is going to come because, hey, we watched armies of blue-haired motherfuckers take over cop stations with lasers, umbrellas, and fucking fireworks, man.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen when a couple fire teams of Sicarios that walked across the border whenever, and they're just chilling out with a free phone and their operation funds, get the call to start dropping police stations?